Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Eye Opener Society. I am your host, Gary Dean, and I thank you again for tuning in. And things are, like I said, have been changing. We have some announcements. Like I said, we are going to be bringing Hannah back in some form or capacity. Um, Once we get the time, since we're no longer under the same roof, it's very difficult to get schedules together, but we're going to record some episodes. On top of that, we still have my co host, Jennifer Miller. And I'm also going to bring back Brittany from the listener episode as well. This way, this could become a true society, giving everybody different voices, different perspectives, and everybody can learn from each other. So, of course, today I have Jennifer Miller with me, and we are going to be talking about something that she's very familiar with. Jennifer Miller, you are into gardening.
Yeah, I've been gardening for a long time actually. We used to garden when I was younger. I started helping my parents garden when I was like around 5 or 6 because I wanted to help, and ever since then, every summer, spring, and even fall, I'm in the garden. So I really like it. It's something that like is very relaxing. It also has benefits like grounding. And last year when I was grounding, I stepped on a snake underneath the plastic because I put plastic down for walkways so I don't step on vegetables or anything like that. And lucky me, I stepped right on a snake underneath the plastic, and that was like the weirdest situation I think I could have ever encountered. Yes, I felt it wiggling under my feet. Yes, it creeped me out, and I jumped on to the fence. And I have to say that makeshift fence that we did with pallets was sturdy because it held me. It held me up. And yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be like barefoot in the garden this year, but definitely in the grass, like around it.
I gotcha.
That was an experience I won't forget. Yeah.
Well, that's a good start because I'm bringing up gardening, and probably the audience is wondering why I'm bringing up gardening. But I've always been into the entire meditational field, and gardening is one of those things where you could place and focus all of your energies into the earth, basically creating life, and it becomes a form of meditation. And I know you're very much into it. You're very much into, like, all of the different types of plants, seeds, when to plant, how to plant, types of plants. And I mean, you explain a lot of it to me, and it's a great thing to be into. However, for your own benefit, do you find that the gardening actually helps to ease your mind?
Yeah, actually it does. Yeah, it really does when you think about it. It's like therapy in a way. I mean, I don't talk bad to the plants or anything because there is actually a scientific proof like if you talk to plants really like horrible, they don't produce and they don't grow as sturdy. So I mean, when they're like little baby seedlings, I'm always talking to them saying, "You're so lovely," and I breathe really heavy on them. I mean, hopefully I don't have garlic breath when I'm doing this, but "You're so pretty. You're gonna grow up to be beautiful," and they get really big. But yeah, when you're in the garden, I feel like it's like a therapy session. Everything is just there. Like your hands are in the dirt, so you're grounding, so you feel better. You can watch the bees, especially if you have echinacea. I like to sit and watch them. It's um, it's a lot better than just like sitting around and melting your face off with TV. Like you just don't. There's a disconnect with the TV. With gardening, it's like you're connected. You feel at peace. And it just kind of has like that serene, like calming experience. The whole world's going so fast around you when you're in the garden and just doing your little thing, it really is a really peaceful, serene moment. Like that does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the whole reason I brought this episode up, because I've always spoken before in the past where meditation could be whatever it is you want to make it. And some people like to cook, some people like to clean, uh, some people just like to walk out in nature. But gardening just happens to be one of those things that kind of interests me. As of right now, I don't have the space to garden, but always recall, even as a young child, I always liked, I mean, we literally used to get little starter plants in cereal boxes back in the day. So it had the seeds and it had a little domed bubble that you used to wet the little sponge that they had in there, and you put the seeds in, and you just grew. I don't even know what kind of plants they were, but obviously simple and easy ones to grow. But it always fascinated me because you actually create that life and you're creating that ecosystem, like you said, now with the bees and everything else and the pollination and working with the soil. You are immersed in a whole nother universe.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, yeah, I mean, you are in your own little universe. I mean, minus the fact that you might have a gated garden. I mean, minus that. But when you're in that like element, yeah, you're just if you're crouched down on your knees, it kind of looks like and feels like you're a kid again, exploring, digging in the ground. Which I have a lot of ammonites in my ground. So when I'm digging and I collect rocks and stuff out of the garden, I've always got like ammonite fossils. Um, so that's always like a pleasure for just that because some of the patterns on them are really pretty. But then sitting and watching the bees, I mean, it's fascinating to watch them because they go from like one thing to another. Um, and sometimes you see bugs. If you have, like, tomatoes, sometimes you see, like, like the, tobacco worms. They're, like, these really big fat worms that will destroy your garden. So, like, you have to put, like, eggshells around, like, it's always, like, a little adventure, you know? You never know what you're gonna find out in the garden, so, I mean, it's relaxing, and it brings peace, and it is like a venture, like, you're getting a whole bunch of, what do I say, experiences in, like, one area. And it's really fun. And you mentioned the cereal box. I mean, I don't remember that, but I remember as a kid they used to have these kits that you could get at the store called Back to the Roots, or was it Back to Roots or Back to the Roots, or I don't know, but they're like a little kit, and it sounds kind of very similar to what you were saying. And I got my kids a couple of those last year, and they really enjoyed it. They grew microgreens, so we started doing that this year. And um, if you have kids and you want something good to calm them down, like little things like that, gardening things, they like doing it. I mean, they like getting dirty, they like making something, and they like watching something grow. It's,
It's a very
it connects.
immersive. Yeah, it's very immersive because, like I said, being in that little spot of yours, you have the feel, the textures of the earth, the plants, the seeds. Then you have the aromas. You're smelling the flowers, the
Um,
outdoors. There's just so much that activates all of your senses. You're seeing the beauty of what you have grown and all. So this brings me into that whole meditative state where I could even picture myself doing something like this. And people plant for different reasons. They may plant just for the meditative experience. Uh, Planting flowers is one thing. You're doing it for the beauty of it. And then you could do it for the survival of it if you're planting your own garden for food. So, do you do a combination of all that, or
I
just
mean,
on one thing?
there's some things like some flowers are actually edible, um, like lavender, magnolia, like you can pickle magnolias. Oh, there's just I can't even. I do a mixture. I mean, I crop garden, like loofahs, because I use them in my business. So I crop garden those. Like that's a big crop. It's kind of like farming almost. Um, my little hobby garden, which I have, and I usually do that for pleasure and for homesteading. Um, but I think the herb garden I really love that. That's like my major, because it has the smells. It like when I say smells, it smells good. Like thyme, you rub your hands through it and just smell your hand. Beautiful. Put some rosemary in your hand, smell it. Oh, I mean, it's very aromatic. Like I love the aromatic herbs, but I do a mixture basically of homesteading and planting for fun. Flower wise, I do grow a lot of flowers, but it's mostly to sometimes keep pests away, like marigolds really help. But last year it didn't help because I still got a snake and it stayed in there all summer. We called him Frank. And the reason we called him Frank, have you ever seen the show Shameless?
Okay, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Well, this guy, his name's Frank. He's the dad. He's always around when you don't want him to be. And Frank, our garden snake, it was kind of like that. Like he wasn't mean or, aggressive. He just chilled out. But man, he looked rough. You could tell he was definitely an outside snake. He had like scars on him. He had one one eye, and I felt bad because I did step on him last year, which I'm surprised I didn't kill him because he wasn't very big, but Frank had a rough life, you can just tell. So so he would just always be chilling in there, and I was just always uneasy. But, it's crazy because if you garden and you have a garden snake, it's really good because it keeps mice away, it keeps moles away. Um, so that's the Frank garden story. Just
That's
always
great.
around.
Which brings me again, you're so connected to everything, the ecosystem, right on down from the seeds to the microbes and the soils and everything else. You become a part of that system, something that you put your own labor into and you
Mhm.
help it to strive. So this is the connect I like, the bringing back to, because I always talked about being part in nature, and I never realized just how much gardening brings you so deep into that world.
It does. I mean, you can also get it by foraging if you like to forage. Like I like foraging, like certain sorts of mushrooms, like hen of the woods or morels. Like those are my two favorite things to look for. Um, but if you don't have like a lot of space, like pot gardening, like like just pots, because you can get certain seeds that are specifically for like pots. I don't like really getting genetically modified ones, but, you know, starting out, it would be okay. Because I usually use, like, heirloom. So, like, if you use heirloom, you can always, let 1 or 2 plants go, um, and let them seed, and I collect the seeds and do it that way because it will grow better in my soil next year because it came from that plant from the same soil. So
I like
there's a
it.
lot of stuff that goes into gardening. I mean, it's not just, I mean, it is therapy because honestly, it gets your mind off a lot of the negative things that are going on. It keeps you occupied. And, planting or just weeding, you know, ideas pop into your head. It doesn't even have to be related to gardening. It could be a way to fix something that's going on in your life. A project. Like me, I'm always working on candles and soaps and all sorts of stuff. I could be sitting there weeding and all of a sudden an idea for something just pops in my head, especially when I'm gardening. Like it's just because you're so relaxed, you're grounding. Um and I don't know if you know, but grounding really helps with, circulation. So that helps with thinking. It also helps with relaxing and it helps your nervous system. It helps your nervous system calm down. And that's, I think, like, the really big benefits there is physical, mental, and you're actually being productive, like, it's all like you said, you know, it kind of goes with the ecosystem that you've created, and it's just a real pleasant experience. I mean, I've been doing it for since I was 5, so it brings back good memories too, so it's kind of like, you know an all-encompassing thing. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just something you know when you're in there.
Right. It's that's why I wanted to relate this to the meditation for those that may garden, whether you're just growing one plant in a pot or, 40, 50 acres of land, you are part of that. You are now meditating and you're meditating in nature. And I don't think anybody can feel unhappy in nature. I never did, and that's why
The bug bite.
well, bug bites, yeah, but, hey, but then again, there's plants you could plant. that counteract bug bites?
Oh, I have a pond that is kind of a swamp right now because it needs relined with clay. So I get really bad mosquitoes. So I get bit pretty bad and they swell. And I mean, when I say swell, I mean like welts. Like I look like I was just, duking it out with the mosquito and it just swells. So, you know, they do help. Some do help. But it doesn't keep them all away. You still get eaten a little bit, a little bit.
Right. Yeah, of course. But again, the yin and the yang of everything, there's
Right.
always going to be some sort of negative mixed in with it, but there's always pleasure in nature. I've never been unhappy in nature. So
No.
immersing yourself in a gardening atmosphere, it's highly suggestive, at least from me. Again, I'm not a doctor, but for depression, for anxiety or anything like that, I think being part of a gardening experience, no matter how small or to whatever scale, find something that you could start out on and enjoy it from there. Uh, and if you go to Tea Leaf Readings in the Valley, I'm sure Jennifer would definitely help you out, where to get started, especially for someone doing it since 5 years old. I think that's pretty amazing. It's becomes a part of you.
It does. I mean, I'm, like, really hardcore. When I say I have, like, folders with, like, little pouches that hold my seeds in it, and I date everything, so, I mean, even the oldest seeds you could have seeds from, like, 10 years back. If you just soak them for 24 hours in water, and if they sink, they're good, if they float, they're bad. Um, and you can pick out which ones will actually grow then. I mean, it's like I said, I get pretty, like, hardcore with it.
That's great. So yeah, definitely. I appreciate your input on this, and I appreciate you being here for this here little episode and sharing a little bit of your knowledge because I know it's very vast and we could probably do like 20, 30 episodes on this. But I wanted the audience to try and connect a little bit with spirituality and the meditational part of it. Some people do find it difficult to relax sometimes. And I like to try and find different things that can help out. And I really do believe that gardening can be one of those things. So I do appreciate everything that you do with that.
Right.
And again, don't forget, you could always check us out, eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. Also search for us on any other platform, any of your favorite platforms. And also don't forget, I'm also on YouTube as well. And there's a few little bonus things that I have on there. And stick with us because we're going to have so many more different episodes, different topics. And don't forget that we have Elaine's Arcane Oracle podcast. We have Haunted and Waiting, and we have Sunset Child's Out There podcast. Three other great podcasts that I love them. I love those three ladies immensely. They do such great work on their shows, so check them out too as well. Jennifer Miller, thank you again for joining me, and we will see everybody really soon. Thank you for joining us.